Tell us where you were born, where you went to, how you got into salsa, what instruments you played, and give us an accounting of how you are where you are today.
Okay, well, I was born in Salinas, Puerto Rico, in a small town about 4 towns away from Ponce, in the south side, southwest. And I was raised in the next town, which is called Guayama. It's Pueblo Los Brujos. That's where I went to school, and I think at the age of 13, I was, well, I started, when I was born at the age of 6 months, they brought me to New York, so I was raised in New York till I was 12 years old. And then they took me to Puerto Rico. That's when your parents figure out, okay, before he gets ruined on us, let's send him to the island with his grandparents. So I went and I was raised with my grandparents. I had a wonderful time with my grandparents, learned about my culture, and my pronunciation got better, you know. If not, I would get wet, you know. But it was I thank my parents now for giving me that opportunity, because that's why I became a singer. If not, I probably would have stood a drummer, because that's my first instrument. I started playing congas at the age of 14. My father had brought me a conga like when I was 10, and so I had it picking up, you know, dust and spider webbing in the corner. And at the age of like 11, I started to hit it. And then so it happened that my parents had a store in the Lower East Side, in Loisaida, in 5th Street and Avenue C, where it was called La Gloria. My father hit the number and wanted to make a hardware store. After so many years of working in factories, he wanted to make a hardware store. My father's hardware store was a variety store. He sold everything. I mean, toys, you know, he would sell food, candy, you know, like it was a variety store more than a candy store or a hardware store. And I remember when they were filming our Latin thing, the movie, first Jerry Masucci movie, Ray Barretto showed up in a vlog with Jerry Masucci, and but I didn't know who it was. And he showed up. You want me to sing later on?
All right, let's sign for the other people.
And he showed up, and Jerry asked if they can borrow the a piragua cart, snow cone cart. And I was buffing shoes. It was my day to buff shoes. The next day I would have to use the cart. So my brother was using the cart that day. And Jerry offered my parents $10 for 10 minutes in the cart. And that's the scene where you see Ray Barretto singing Tamarindo and in the movie. And he was doing a snow cone. That when I first met him, I didn't know who he was. He looked like a hippie to me. He was 6'4", 6'3", you know, and with some skippies and long hair and some glasses, and you know. Then I approached my parents and I said, "Who is it?" My parents told me supposedly that's Ray Barretto, but my parents didn't even know him either, you know. So that's how I met Ray Barretto and fell in love with the congas, and from there I started picking up on the conga. And when I was 12, when they decided to send me with my parents, my father bought me a second conga. Being that I was going to live in Puerto Rico, I said, "Here's a gift for you, so you can, you know, hold that while we get to Puerto Rico and together with you." You know? So it so happened that I stood with my parents and went to school for about 3 years, and then my parents got to Puerto Rico, and then we lived in a new house. My father had bought a new house, sent to make a new house for us, and that's the reason I stood with my parents while they were making a house for 3 years. I studied for 3 years, and I thought that living in Puerto Rico was the most wonderful thing that they ever did as a gift. That's where I learned. And now I'm still singing.
Now, how did you change from conga to singing?
Well, that happened because of the reason that I had a band in Puerto Rico when I was 14 or 15. I had a band, and I played congas. It was a sextet. In the part of town where I was at, it was very hard to get to town. So I lived far from town. So musicians, if you were young and you didn't have a car, transportation, it was difficult for you to get to the gigs, you know. So my father had 3 cars, so even though I was 14, I got to drive. But I would only go to short distances, and I remember that my singer started missing on our rehearsals. He wasn't showing up, and so I said, well, we're gonna have to do something, because this guy thinks he's a star and is not showing up to our rehearsals, but he wants to do the gigs, and so we all decided, well, let's try everyone in the band, and let's see who can sing. So we tried everybody in the band. I tried my brother, my cousin, my best friend. I didn't try my father because he wasn't good at it, but he just wanted to deal with the band. So when it came to me, because some of them were, my brother couldn't pronounce, my best friend couldn't sing, so it wound up that they said that I was the best one that could sing. So that's why I believed them, and I still sing in the band. And I've been singing ever since. That was 1975.
Now let me ask you, were you listening to a lot of different artists, and who were your biggest influences?
Well, my biggest first influence was Hector Lavoe, who ruins your life, once you hear him, And then after, when I became at 18, 19, I started listening to a lot more influenced singers, Joe Feliciano, going back, not just going to the present where they were and I was at that moment. I went back to years. So every time I bought an album, it was just more incredible to see how CF was singing. And then I started hearing Peter Conde, and I thought that Peter Conde was like the biggest pregonero that we have. He can sing 10 bars. He can sing in 10 bars what a rapper and a reggaeton artist can do today, which we don't do. We do a bar, chorus comes the next bar, we go to the next bar, I'm singing, and so it's fluently changing the music, and answering and responding. When it gets to you get to the point where you figure that you have the talent because somebody has told you that was a great musician that you have talent. So you start believing in that, and you start singing in other bands. So I sang for Puerto Rico. I sang for Willie Rosario was the top band that I sang for. That was 1977. But I never sang for any other top band in Puerto Rico. It was all my rinky-dink little bands that I had in Puerto Rico before that. My biggest influence, I say today, because I changed through the years. Hector was the one that really messed me up. I love Hector, but then to see how he wound up, you have to try. Okay, I got the singing is great, but I want to be different. So I think that's. There's many. I love all the singers. Imai Quintana, Santitos Colón, Benny Moré, Abelardo Pozo. There's not a singer that I don't think that I appreciate. Martin Santiago. I think that in every record, I do a piece of some singer. Because I'm influenced by all. Martin Santiago, Frankie Hernandez, it doesn't matter. It's all the singers.
When did you discover that you had a talent for improvisation? Or when did you feel that you were going to be a great sonero?
I never really thought that I still don't think I'm a great sonero.